Good morning, class. Can you uh, hear me? Am I audible?
Good morning,
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes,
You are
ma'am.
properly audible.
Ma'am.
Morning, ma'am.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so
Good morning.
is there any question from what we have done yesterday in the class? No? Okay. So today we will be starting with a new topic, again related to grammar. Let's see what we are going to start. Okay, we are going to start with voice. Okay, and then we will move on to error detection. Okay, because the others other topics in the first module, as I have told you, I'll be circulating the list. Okay, a representative list. So there's nothing to teach in the class as for the other topics, but for voice I'll be just giving you a brief overview today, and then we will be moving on to error detection, where again I'll be circulating a worksheet to you all. You need to work them out, preferably in the class. If not, then you can do it as homework, and then we can discuss the answers in class. I'll upload the answer sheet. Okay. So let's start with voice today, so that we are over with the grammar section this week, and we can move on to the third module with paragraph formulation, précis writing, email writing, writing for the web, as these are the topics which will be there in your midsem. Okay, so we need to devote some time for that as well. Is it clear whatever I have just said? Do you get me? Was I clear with the instructions, whatever I had just said?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Oh, okay. Now, voice. Now, again, since it is part of grammar, so all of we are aware of what voice change is, and what are the different types of voices, right? Active voice, passive voice, and the quasi-passive voice. Okay. So, what is voice basically all about? The voice, which is, it is actually a form of a verb that indicates whether a particular subject is doing a particular work, or something is being done to the subject. So, and this is how we define, or differentiate between these broad two broad categories of voices, active or passive, depending on whether the subject is doing a particular work, or something is being done to the subject. So voice is actually the form of a particular verb. Okay. Now let's come to active voice. That is the first category of voice if we divide voice, types of voice, right? So what is active voice? Now in the active voice, the subject of a sentence is the actor, or he or she is doing a particular work, the action. Since the subject is active, the voice here will be active voice. Right? To give you a simple example, is like I engage the class every Tuesday. Okay, so I am the subject here. I am engaging the classes. The work is being done by me. So this entire sentence is in active voice. Okay. The subject is active. Now, if what is then the second type of voice? The passive voice. Okay. Now, passive voice is when the subject of a sentence is acted upon, then the verb is passive. Okay. The subject is passive. Something is being done on the subject. Okay. The subject is not active. So the voice is also passive. Again, if you remember the active, the sentence in active voice which I had just used. So I can change that sentence into passive voice. If I say the class on Tuesday, or every Tuesday the class is engaged by me, right? So here I'm not an active subject. Okay, the form isn't passive. The subject is passive. So the voice used is passive. The verb used is passive. Okay. Now there are certain rules which you have to keep in mind when you are changing active voice into passive. The object, of the verb in active voice, it changes into the subject of the verb in the passive voice. Okay. So the subject of the verb in the active voice becomes the object in the passive voice, which is generally preceded by the preposition by. Just now I told you every Tuesday the class is engaged by me. Okay, so this by me. You have to keep these things in mind. Now, when you are, changing the active voice into the passive voice, you would notice, uh, that the word patterns also change, right? You can use the simple present tense, obviously, uh, in the active voice. Okay, it's possible to use it in the active voice, but when you are talking of the passive voice, usually we change this tense, right? It's better in the passive, when we are doing the passive voice, we keep the tenses in this past form. Yesterday we were doing past tense, so the different categories of the past tense. Okay, simple past um, tense will do. Okay, from simple present to simple from present continuous to past continuous, then present perfect to past perfect, and then you can also use the future tense as well, as and when the situation arises. Okay, suppose you have in the sentence the verb buys. Okay, buying, buys, buys. Now if you are changing buys in the passive, the active into the passive, so how are you going to change it? Either as is bought or are bought, depending on obviously the quantity, whether it is in plural or not. If it is in past tense, like bought, okay, in the active voice, so you change it into the passive voice as was bought or were brought. Okay. If it is in present continuous tense, okay, like is buying, he is buying mangoes. Okay. So in the passive voice, you will change it into like, mangoes are being bought by him. Right. This is how you are going to change. I took the example of a simple, doing word like buy, and I'm just explaining. Okay. If it is in past continuous in the active voice, like was, were, buying, in the passive, you will write it as, was, were being bought. Like, um, suppose she was buying mangoes. Okay. So in the passive voice, you have to write it as mangoes were being bought by her. Follow? If it is in present perfect, has bought. In the passive voice, it would be has been bought. If it is in past perfect, like had bought in active voice, you will have to change it into had been bought. If you say in, if you take the example of simple future, like will buy, I will buy mangoes. In the passive voice, we have to write it as mangoes will be bought by me. Okay. Have you followed these things? How you change the verb form, the tense form, when you change the sentence from active to passive? Have you followed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I just we have different types of sentences, right? Like you have affirmative, declarative sentences, you have imperative sentences, negative sentences, then interrogative sentences. So, in different categories of sentences, the voice can be either in active or in passive. So, I'll just give you, some one two examples while explaining, how you can change the voice in each of these sentence structures, so that if you get a question from which is an interrogative sentence, in the active form, and you are asked to change it in the passive form, you would remember how to do it. Okay. Let's start with the simple ones if it is an affirmative or declarative sentence. Okay. Uh, let's say I am teaching voice, active passive voice in the class. Okay. I'm teaching active passive voice in the class. This is a declarative sentence which is in active voice. Now, this has to be changed into the passive form. So, I'll say, active passive voice, okay, is being taught by me, right? Then let's take another example from affirmative sentence. They had attended the class. Okay. The class had been attended by them. Okay. So this is how you change, the voice from active to passive in case of a declarative or affirmative sentence. Now let's move on to imperative sentence. Now imperative sentence, as I believe you all remember, the sentences which conveys, order, request, these things. Okay, commands. So these are imperative sentences, like do this work. Okay, this is an active. This can be a command as well. Okay. Because it sounds like a command. Do this work. So this is an imperative sentence which is in active voice. You have to change this in the passive voice. So how would you change it? Let this work be done, or shut the door. We often use it, right? Shut the door, close the door. So it is an active voice. An imperative sentence is an active voice. So we the passive form is let the door be shut or let the door be closed. Then on we often see instructions on walls in certain corridors in offices. Please, or in aircrafts, please do not smoke. Right. So if you change this active voice, in an imperative sentence into passive voice, how would you change it? You are requested not to smoke. This is a request because please was used. So please, kindly, when these are used, it is a request, but an imperative sentence. So in the passive voice, you would please. How would you convey that this was a request in the passive voice? You cannot obviously change the form of please, right? So you convey that it is a request by inserting the word request itself. You are requested not to smoke. Okay. Now, interrogative sentences. All the WH questions, those sentences are interrogative sentence with a question mark. Okay.
Ma'am, will
Now,
there be options or do we have to answer it?
you will have to answer it. You will get an active voice like uh, just now I said that, please do not smoke. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
This sentence will be given and you will be asked to change it into passive voice. You won't be getting any option.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, that is why I was giving you some examples to help you remember, how you are going to change an active voice of these type of sentences into the passive voice. No option would be given. The sentence would be given and then you would be asked to write it, change the voice. No option for that. In time and tense, when the fill in the blanks would be given, in parentheses you will be given the verb. Okay, the verb would be given, but then you would be asked to use the correct form of the verb, the tense. So that would be there. No other options. Okay. Yes, now we were discussing interrogative sentences and how they are going to be uh, changed into passive voice. Now, let me give you a sentence. Yes. Have you read the book? Okay, have you read the book? This is an interrogative sentence which is in passive voice. You have to change this into, sorry, in active voice. You have to change this into passive voice. So, have you read the book into passive voice will be, has the book been read by you? Okay. Who taught you English? Okay, this is in active voice. So, when you are changing it into the passive voice, it would be, by whom were you taught English? Why did the teacher punish you? This is in active voice. When you are going to change it into passive voice, it would be, why were you punished by the teacher? Okay. So these examples are given, are being discussed in the class to help you remember how you are going to change, an active voice of an interrogative sentence into the passive voice. Now there are negative sentences as well. Negative sentences, they usually talk about, they convey a negative tone, right? Something which is not affirmative. Suppose if you say, I do not like mangoes. Okay. So mangoes are not liked by me. Okay. Um, he has not attended the class. Okay. So it would be like
The class has not been attended by him.
attended by him. Right. Yes. So have you understood how you're going to change the voice in each of these types of sentences? Is there any question?
Ma'am, give some examples for interrogative sentences.
Examples of what?
Interrogative sentences.
Okay. Uh,
And also, ma'am, please give, sir, ma'am, like sentences starting with please, request
please.
sentence. Please,
Okay.
please.
Let's start.
Sentence starting
Please, right? The request thing. Okay. Let's start with the interrogative sentence. Did you get the um, worksheet? This is an interrogative sentence. Okay. How would you change it? Did you get the worksheet?
Was the worksheet received by you?
Okay. Yes. Was the worksheet received by you? Right. Fine. Okay. Um,
Has the
have you?
worksheet given to you?
Huh? Repeat.
Has the worksheet given to you?
No. Has the worksheet given? No. It's not grammatically correct actually. What you say?
Okay.
Okay. Have you done the homework?
Has the homework been done by you?
Right. Um, which book do you want? Which book do you want? Suppose you are going to the library and the librarian asks you, which book do you want? Or a shop, bookstore. Which book do you want? How will you change it into the
Which book is wanted by you?
right? How did you do it? Okay, how did you do it?
How was
How
it done by
did
you?
it was
How was it
done by
done by
you?
you?
Yes, how was it done by you? Right. Now, these were the examples from interrogative sentence which I could come up with. Now, I think one of you had asked me to give you some sentence with please, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Suppose, please do this work. Whenever you get a sentence with please, and you have to change it into the passive form, just remember you have to
You are
start
requested
with
to do this work.
Let the work
yes,
to be done.
no, not let.
Yeah.
Because you are using, the please is already given there in the sentence, you notice that
Yeah,
it
you
is
are requested.
yes, to do this work. So
Yes.
whenever you see please in a sentence, when you're asked to change the voice, you just remember you will write as you are requested to do this work, or you are requested to not smoke, whatever the statement says later on. But you are start with you are requested to, and then you write the other part of the sentence, right? You will use let only when you know that it is a kind of a command, like open the door or shut the door. These are types of commands.
Any type of proposal can be added by it.
Proposal,
Yes, ma'am.
like what do you mean by proposal here?
Means uh, like asking for something. Um,
Can you give an example?
Uh, and
When you are asking for something, it becomes an interrogative sentence. Like I gave you then that example. Which book do you want? Right. So that is you are being asked a question. Okay. The shopkeeper or the librarian, it seems that is asking you something. It becomes an interrogative question. If you have any other sentence in mind to convey what you are trying to say, then give me the sentence. Okay. An example so that I can understand.
let us go together like
Let
this.
us go together.
Yes, ma'am.
Let us go together. How would
This
you change it into
can this be
um
changed voice?
let us go together.
Ma'am, I think it is already in passive voice.
It is in passive voice, but then passive voice can it be changed into active voice?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so it is vice versa. Like just like active can be changed into passive, passive can also be changed into active. So
Like
let us
he
go
proposed us
together.
to go out like that.
I
Uh,
suggest we go together.
you are suggested to go together,
I
but then
suggest
again,
we go together.
I suggest we go together. But then again, you okay? Yes, had you said that you are suggested to go together, then again it would have been a passive form. But okay, I suggest we go together. Let us go together. Okay, it will do. Okay, any other question? Any other question? There is another you know category of this voice, which is known as the quasi-passive voice. Now, quasi-passive voice, we are more familiar with active and passive voice. Quasi-passive voice also we are familiar with, but may not be the nomenclature. Okay. In quasi-passive voice, okay, it is active in form, but it appears passive in sense. Okay. So that has to be changed into passive voice to make it passive. We are all familiar with this example. Honey tastes sweet, right? So this is a sentence which is active in form, but then it conveys a sense that it is passive. Okay, but
Honey
you
is
have
sweet when it
to,
is tested.
yes, honey is sweet when it is tasted. So the passive form is this. So whenever you get this type of sentences which is active in form but passive in sense, then you have to change it into passive. This um rose smells sweet, right? The rose is sweet when it is smelled. Okay. This composition reads well. This composition sounds well when it is read. The drums are beating. The drums are being beaten. The house uh, is building, right? The house is being built. So these are some of the examples, of quasi-passive voice, where you have to change it into passive voice. The stone feels rough. The stone is rough when it is felt. So you change it into the passive voice by, adding on to the sense actually. Okay, with words. Have you followed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I'll just ask you one question. We usually change, into passive voice, the simple declarative sentence by using the preposition by, right? I engage the class on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, the class is engaged by me. So there can be, other prepositions, other than by. Let me give you an example. Uh, I know the facts. This is an active voice, right? How would you change it into passive voice? Give me the answer.
The
The
fact is
fact is
known by
known
me.
to me. The
No, the
fact is known to
fact
me.
is known to me.
Known.
Okay, so this is something you can use other than by. His conduct shocked me. I was shocked at his conduct, not by his conduct. Okay, I was shocked at his conduct. Light filled the room. The room was filled with light, not by light. Okay. Her manners pleased us very much. We were very much pleased with her manners, not by her manners. Okay. The novels of Dickens interest me. I'm interested in the novels of Dickens. Okay. Have you followed?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
what should be the voice of exclamatory sentences? Like we are expressing our grief, or it may be happiness. What could be the voice change?
Okay. Suppose, like, alas, he passed away, something like that.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
since you know that it is, he passed away, and alas, that is used, it is of grief, right? So you can write it like
It
this.
is a matter of great sorrow.
No, no, don't complicate it so much. You can write it like, grief was expressed by him or her, okay, at his demise or at his passing away. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
this is how you would change it into the in exclamatory sentence. Okay,
And all, ma'am, happiness, like,
give me an
oh
example.
yeah, like something. Oh yeah, I just seen him,
Oh yeah, is
like this.
not happiness. Oh yeah, what? If you
Ma'am, we
see, if
won the
you
match.
Ma'am, like
Yeah,
this.
today we won
Yeah,
the
we
match.
have won the match. We have won the match.
okay, happiness was expressed by us at the team's win, something like that. However you frame the sentence in the active voice, you'll have to see if it is written that uh, hurrah, the team won the match, then you write it in that way. Okay, happiness was expressed by us at the team's win, something like this. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
but since you know that it is a matter of grief or happiness, you can write it in that way. Grief or sorrow was expressed, happiness was expressed in this manner. Just like I told you, whenever you get a sentence like please, you will start the passive voice in this manner. You are requested to, and then whatever is given in the sentence. Have you followed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let me give you you know another example. I want to know from you the answer. We know that Columbus discovered America. Okay, we know that Columbus discovered America. Now all of us know that this is in active voice. How would you change it into passive voice?
It is
It is
known to
known
us
by
that
us.
Columbus
It is
discovered.
known
One
by
by
us
one.
that
Wait,
America
wait.
was discovered by Columbus.
Repeat
Ma'am,
once
known
again.
to us. Known to
It
us.
is known to us that America was discovered by Columbus.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is known to us that America was discovered by Columbus. Right. Or that America was discovered by Columbus is known to us. You can write it in either of these two ways. Okay. I cannot depend on what he says. Change it into passive voice. I cannot depend on what he says.
Ma'am, what he says is not dependent to me.
What he
Cannot be
says,
dependent.
yeah, or what is said by him cannot be dependent. Okay. On by me, you can delete it because it is understood it will be by me. Okay. Sometimes you can delete by me as well. Only when it is in the first person. But if it is his, her, they, him, okay, you will have to write it. But sometimes you can delete by me as well. Even if you write, it is not wrong, but you can delete it as well. But yes, what is said by him cannot be dependent. Okay. Any other question, class?
No, ma'am.
Have you followed?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, we have error detection, right? Now, something which needs to be discussed. Now, in error detection, uh, I will be uploading worksheets now on your classroom. You do it as your homework, okay? By next week, I just want to see that you have actually done it, okay? So that I can give you the answer sheet. Now, in error detection, what you would get is that, there will be some sentences, okay? There will be
Ma'am,
some,
ma'am,
yes.
what will be the rule? You will send us the thing like assignment. We have to turn it on.
No, 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 no. This is not an assignment. Okay, just forget this is not an assignment. This is part of your since it cannot be done in a class because we have other topics to discuss before your midsem, and this is a worksheet. So I will be giving it to you as homework. You do it so that next week I can discuss the answers or I can circulate the answer sheet. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Now, yeah, in this worksheet, you will get, some questions. Okay. Which will be obviously have some errors in it. It can be grammatic, it can be, time and tense, it can be preposition, uh, anything, singular, subject, verb, agreement, anything. Okay. What you will
Okay,
have to
ma'am.
do is that, what you will have to do is that you will have to identify it and write the correct answer. Okay. uh, I'll be sending you the answer sheet only when you finish the work. Okay. There is nothing to teach you in error detection because these grammatical
When in
rules
error
and
detection, you will give single sentences or a paragraph in which
no,
every
no,
line have a.
single sentence. Some 40-50 sentences will be there. Actually, there is nothing to teach in error detection. The grammatical rules have already been discussed with you. So you know, and we have all done grammar in our school days also. So we all know, what is there and what is not, what can be a mistake in a sentence. So you'll have to just identify it and write the correct form. Okay. That is what you need to do in this worksheet. Okay.
Will
I'll
it be
just
only error detection or omission?
omission.
Means one word will be missing and that sentence we have to write the pre-word, the missing word, and the post-word.
No, whatever. See, do not unnecessarily add in a word to a particular sentence. Okay. The sentences will convey full meaning. Okay. You would understand. But there will be some kind of grammatical error. So, unnecessarily adding words won't help. Okay. Suppose there is a mistake in the grammar, sorry, time and tense. So you'll have to put the correct form of time and tense. Suppose there is an error in the preposition. Okay. So you'll have to put the correct form of the preposition. It is a mixed bag of sentences. Okay. So those kind of things are expected from you. You are not going to add any word unnecessarily. Okay. That won't be required and that is not part of the instruction. Okay. So just let me see the worksheet. Just give me a minute. Let me just check. Yes, I've got the worksheet. Let me just upload it. Wait. In the meantime, just put your attendance in the chat box. Okay, your group's title is PC Group 5 2021-22, right? This is the group which we use.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Please open your classroom. Any one or two of you.
Yes, ma'am. Opened.
Okay, good. I'm uploading it. It's taking a bit longer. Just wait for a minute. I've posted it. Okay. See if it is visible or not.
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Got it? Okay. So you have to work out this sheet, okay, by next week so that we can discuss the answers and I can upload the answer sheet also to this error detection, okay. As you can see
50
that,
questions here, ma'am.
huh?
50 questions here.
Yes. So you'll have to correct them. Grammatical errors will only be there. Instructions are also given there, okay, in the worksheet. And do not add word unnecessarily, okay. Just read the sentence and you can identify. And there may be a few sentences, very few, which are already correct, okay. So just don't think that since it is error detection sheet, so 50 will be incorrect. It may not be the case, okay. So you will have to be alert, right? um, since I have already uploaded it, so you can work them out at home and then next week I'll discuss, okay.
Okay,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay,
Okay,
so it's
ma'am.
already time. Thank you, class.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank
Yes,
you,
and
ma'am.
I'm
Thank you,
Have a
ma'am.
uploading
good day.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am.
Thank 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 you, ma'am.